Have you ever turned your tomatoes into a shelf-stable pider? Well, I have, and I'm gonna show you how. So let's go. So I had 5 or 6 gallon Ziploc bags of tomatoes froze, and I thawed them. This counter pot was initially full of tomatoes, and after I thawed them, just look at how much juice is in this counter pot. I bet you it's 2 or 3 gallons of liquid in there. There's no telling how much time and energy costs that's gonna save me and my machine. But look at the sad little pile of tomatoes that I end up with after they thawed. Anyway, I've never freeze-dried tomatoes, and I actually considered blending them up first, but I decided I was just gonna go ahead and just toss them straight on the tray as is. The tomatoes that I'm running are skin-on raw tomatoes. You can peel them if you want, cook them if you want, you can do it either way. You can easily overload trays with something like this. I would say this amount of tomatoes on each tray is gonna be a plenty. I pre-freeze everything overnight, so tray stackers are a must, and into the freezer they go. The next morning, I'll start the freeze dryer and load the trays. And now we wait. So even with all that juice removed, these things still ran for 50 hours. I think most of them are done. The trays feel nice and warm, but that one there still feels cool, so I know that needs to go back in for some time. But before I put mine back in, I'm gonna go ahead and pider them. I prefer to do this with anything I'm pidering because I kind of keep it out for extended amount of time. And then if there happens to be any moisture in my blender, I'm gonna put them back in there and I'll be able to get all that out. It's just added insurance in my opinion. Tomato dust, anyone? But just look at how they break apart. It's really cool. If you've never ran a freeze dryer, it's fascinating how stuff comes out of the machine. And not to mention, there's something oddly fascinating about running your hand through a bunch of tomato powder like that. So I think I'll let these run for maybe 4 or 5 hours. Well, I had something I had to go do, so I just tossed my powder into a Ziploc bag till I could get back. But I store basically all of my freeze-dried food in half-gallon mason jars. I want to be able to see my food. And unlike a Mylar bag, a mason jar is virtually rodent proof. I'll be opening these soon and often, so I'm gonna drop in some desiccants to keep the moisture out. Be sure you clean them rims good with something dry. So far, I've only ever used the ball cannon lids for my mason jars, and I have not had any failure sealing them this way. I put on my automatic vacuum seal and let it take care of the rest. You can use this in many different ways. You can take a little bit out, add some water to it, and you can create your very own instant tomato paste or even a puree. But for me, my sole purpose of making this was to use it as a seasoning, and I actually have a recipe coming up that I plan to try some of this out on. Making piders like this is my favorite way to use my freeze dryer. You can start with such a large amount of food and shrink it down into a concentrated, compact, shelf-stable product that you can use for many different things. So if you freeze dry piders, what is your favorite you've tried so far?